I just love seeing men and women on their journey, right? So I remember when I was listening to the Locks, when I was banging Rough Riders and Volume 1, 2, 3, whatever, and to see the growth of man, to see where he is now. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to say he wasn't anywhere before, because he was. But the beauty of seeing how we grow, and just as I said earlier, becoming a better version of your previous self. Yeah? All right, so without further ado, please clap it up, show your love and appreciation for Styles P.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.
You probably don't want me to tell you this, but Styles P on Ancient Reserve.
I mean, it does.
So good. Thanks that this man come in here, so we really appreciate it. All right, so I really want to get into it, right? I want to talk about the importance of being a student of your body and the process of losing weight in a healthy way and keeping the weight off in a healthy way, right? So early in your journey, which I refer to as like you're a zealot stage, you know when you get healthy, you're super militant and wild.
For sure.
What were some of the biggest mistakes you made when changing your eating habits?
I think everyone believes vegan lifestyle is healthy, period. And I totally believe that. I'm not vegan, first of all. I say I'm plant-based because I eat plants. I smoke them too, but I eat plants. Vegans don't wear leather, they don't eat honey, but a vegan or plant-based lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, I think a lot of people believe when you go plant-based or vegan that it's automatically healthy. And it's not, because processed plant-based food will help hurt you as well as regular processed food. So I believe you have to have an idea. Just in general, most of us, point blank period, don't really think about the inside of our body as much as we think about the outside of our body. And even when you pick up a soda or juice, when it says 17% juice, do you ever think about what the other 83% is? And these are things we don't do enough. So I believe the lifestyle of eating, period, I don't try to push plant-based lifestyle on people, on everybody. If you choose to do it, it's for you. What I do push is balance, is living a balanced lifestyle. So if you ate bull crap today, make sure you eat healthy tomorrow. Drink some water, eat some fruits, eat some veggies, push forward, sweat, stretch. Because the bottom line is we're in America, and unless you're growing your own food, somehow you're eating screwed up stuff. Pardon my French, but so it's just really about maintaining some sort of balance and making a list of like, what am I doing and what am I not doing. And I believe a lot of people, especially your first few years of going plant-based, you're obnoxious. It's like a religion. You want everybody to be plant-based, and it's judgmental. A lot of people, I think there would be more plant-based people if people weren't so judgmental and obnoxious about eating the plant. And then I think another thing we don't think about with the food we eat is energy. Energy is all in this room, all across the world. Everything's energy-based. So if you don't know where the cow you ate last night, you don't know where it's from, you don't know what country it's from, you don't know whether it was grown, a baby cow, you don't know if it was ripped from the mother, you don't know if it was happy. And when you consume that, you're consuming the energy as well. So that's what's important about the balance. I'm not telling all y'all to run out and be plant-based, but you have to be mindful of the energy that you're consuming, because these foods have a lot of toxic ingredients in them, to say the least.
I'm glad you brought up the point of behavior early on, because I was one of those, and I do apologize to anyone who I did offend. I said it was super hard when I started eating. My wife could attest to that. So next thing I want to ask, bro, is that what's up with the emotional eating? Emotional eating. Did you experience that, or do you still experience that?
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I think unless you have a structure of what you're doing in life, that's kind of natural. And then also I believe the emotional eating comes part of the ingredients they put in the food, which we was talking about earlier. So a lot of us don't know, like when you're going to, I don't want to name any places, but just say you're going to certain restaurants, if you was feeling bad, just say if you was feeling bad and you run a marijuana, alcohol, cocaine, whatever it is you do, the same thing happens with food. The same thing happens with food, so a lot of us get our comfort from what we immediately do a lot out of the day, and that's mostly eating. So emotional eating is a thing, but I believe it should be emotional, intelligent eating is what we have to incorporate in our lifestyle. So I believe that happens to a lot of people, but I think once you kind of just get on a path and on a journey and understand that you're on a journey of just trying to treat your body right and live well and not be too harsh on yourself if you backslide or fall off, and just say day by day, I just want to feel a little better and have a balanced diet. I believe that's the change that's needed, because if you think about it, for me personally, I always said I had some sort of chemical imbalance. I wasn't really sure what it was, but I knew I was too much of in a good position to continue to be wild and to continue to operate off of ego and pride. Then I had to ask myself, why am I doing that? Like, what's happening? And then I had to come up with my own conclusion that it had something to do with what I was putting in my body. Like, until I started living a life of juicing, even as a professional rapper, I would go outside and I have 2 straps on me, I'm willing to beat you down, I got a bat, a knife, and I had to say, what's exactly causing me to be like this? And not to just say it's the food altogether and blame it on the food, but ego, pride, mixed with chemical imbalance, and depending on where you at, it's a horrible combination and a horrible mix, and you may not get control over it. Now, this doesn't happen to everyone, but a lot of youth in the hood will feel better, which is why we have the juice bars in the hood to say, all right, let's cut out the fast food a little bit and put some fruits, veggies in our body, and then also get to be around people that are like-minded, that are thinking like us and working on being better. Working on pushing forward to be the best, their best selves. And I believe that that'll put you in a different bracket of thinking and reacting and acting.
So you started working on the physical health, right? And the mental health is the key component for the physical health. At what part of your journey now did you realize you had to start working on the mental health?
I believe health goes all in hand. I believe mental health, physical wealth, and spiritual wealth and health all go hand in hand. It's the trifecta. So if you feel physically better, you start to feel mentally more clear. And if you're mentally more clear, then your spirit gets more intact. So it's like, if you look at social media today, right? And think about it, there's a total stranger who will hop on your page and say something incredibly foul to you. Now, when you start thinking about it, I look at it like this. This is a person who doesn't feel good about themselves, but hasn't accepted the fact that they don't feel good about themselves. So you become the reflection or the image or a punching bag, because they don't know how to tell themselves, I don't feel good about me. I don't like myself. I don't like where I'm at. So I believe those 3 are totally connected. Those are totally connected. Like, if you exercise and you go out for a good run, or have a good day in the gym, you feel great. You see your homies, it transfers that energy. It's like, yo, what's up, bro? How you feeling? You good? Love is love. Now, if I don't feel good about myself and I feel down, I might just, what's up, bro? Yeah. So I think how you eat and how you think plays part in how your spirit moves.
And I wanted to ask you, man, I was talking to another brother during the interview, and we spoke about mental health being taboo in the Black community, right? Why do you think it's still a taboo topic?
I don't think it's taboo as much as it used to be. Because before, I'm 49, I'll be 50 next month. Yeah. When I was coming up, thank you. When I was coming up, it was, that nigga's crazy. Like, it was just, that was the only thing he said about you. If you had some kind of mental health issue or condition, it went to automatically, that nigga's crazy. I don't think it's taboo. I think, I can't speak on behalf of our queens in here, but I can speak on behalf of Black kings. I don't think even most of us, you don't even break down what's going on with you to your best friend. Your closest people around with you, to you. I think just coming up in a certain area, coming up a certain way, used to just taking your problems on the chin, tucking them in the back, and unless you have a cipher, a circle of friends that you're used to building with, those things don't come out. So for someone to go want to be willing and able to talk to a total stranger about their mental issues or going to therapy, I don't think it's taboo. I think it's uncomfortable for someone who hasn't even done that with people that they love that's in their inner circle. If you're not talking to your brother, your uncle, your best friend, your cousin about your issues, how are you going to really want to go speak to someone you don't know? Which actually is easier than speaking to them. So I don't think it's taboo. I think it's just an idea of uncomfortability. But we're sitting here talking about it now, so it's not that taboo. So we are pushing forward and moving forward when it comes to the issue.
You brought up a great point in regards to that discomfort, in regards to, it's a very vulnerable experience when you talk to therapy. That's like one of the most vulnerable things that I've ever done, right? But I noticed is that, like, in my own self, I learned I was never taught to really trust anybody.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
I think that's like one of the biggest hurdles in regards to, like, I'm sharing with you my deepest problems and my deepest issues. And I've never really done that before, but I need to do it if I to get better.
For sure. I think it's about finding someone you could talk to, and not only that, I think it's about doing things in your personal life for yourself, which will get you to that stage. Like, it's okay to cry. If you feel enraged, it's okay to go outside and throw boulders against other boulders. It's okay to, it all goes back to balance. Like, if you feel sad, then it's your duty to make sure you laugh some point. Put on something funny, go talk to somebody funny, go enjoy a movie, go do something that's gonna make you laugh or smile. Once you start having that balance within and say, all right, and not that anybody's perfect at it, and like I said, you're gonna backslide, you're gonna fall off, but if you had put it in your brain that, all right, I did it last night. I didn't really feel too great. I injured my knee. I wanted to do some things. I was kind of enraged at all that was going on, so I had to turn the TV off, put on 528 HC frequency, sit there and listen to it, breathe deep, and remind myself to get out my own head with, because the energy you putting out is the energy you're going to receive back. So if I keep thinking negative, down thoughts, that's exactly I'm going to stay in that realm. I'm going to stay in that pocket. So it's about having a balance to say, okay, it's okay to feel shitty. It's okay to not feel good. It's okay to have a rough day. It's okay to be in a mental place, but it's not okay to remain there. I always go back to a saying that my wife has said to me, and I always remember it. Don't break down, break open. You know what I mean? So you don't want to break down, you want to break open and get to the root cause of what's going on. You may get to it, you may not get to it, but if you continue to strive to say, here's where I'm at mentally, here's where I'm at physically, here's where I'm at spiritually, because if you feel good physically and mentally, but your spirit's not good, do you really feel good? If you feel good spiritually, but not mentally, and like, if you don't have the trifecta, you can't really say you actually feeling good. You may think that, but you have to learn how to have the trifecta. Like, because energy doesn't lie. A person can lie, but the energy is not going to lie at the end of the day. And you can't lie to yourself about your own energy. So it's important to just keep in mind of doing things that's going to make you feel better and make your mind feel better, your heart feel better, your spirit feel better, and to know it's okay if it doesn't work, and to keep trying, but if you strive for it, then here that goes.
I want to ask you too, I know you're a man that meditate, right?
Say that again?
I know you're a man that meditates.
Yeah, yes I am.
So I got up on the meditation within like the last year, and it's been a game changer, bro.
Yes, it is.
So please share with the people listening in regards to how, or your experience, how things were open to you, and you saw things a little clearer because of meditation.
Well, there's a saying, praying is when you're talking to God. Meditation is when God's talking to you. So when you meditate and you get in a realm, you become kind of open to things flowing towards your way and feeling comfortable.
That connection stronger with the universe, bro.
Yeah, that connection gets stronger. Like, I'm a firm believer in manifestation, so I'm a firm believer in meditation because it's, for years though, too, also before I made a rhyme, I would have to get in the space of just kind of relaxing, laying down, being calm, and just letting the thoughts flow. And I feel when you meditate, your thoughts flow and the universe is talking back to you. And there's different ways of meditation. There's different forms of meditation. Don't feel discouraged if you can't stay focused. That happens to the best of us sometimes. I think it's about breathing, relaxing, and just working on being in tune with the universe to the best of your ability. But it does open up a certain amount of energy that makes you be able to cope with the world a little better. So if you don't know how to meditate, just close your eyes and just try to let the thoughts run out. Breathe deep. I tell people count the breaths. That's what I do. I take deep breaths. When I'm having a hard time, I count the breaths. So I start at 100, breathe deep, and just keep going down. It's going to be, by the time you get to the lower numbers, or even 50, you'll find yourself in a more relaxed state. So meditation is definitely something I suggest for everyone.
All right, and I don't want to use up too much time because I know you guys have a lot of questions for Style Speak. And I have one more question, right? I want to hear your idea on this. So, you're a legend with the Locks.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank
you're
you.
a legend in the solo career, right?
Thank you.
Locks are one of the greatest music groups of all time.
Thank you.
Along with being one of the longest running music groups of all time.
Thank you.
You gonna be truthful with us?
Yeah,
All right, cool. You guys have experienced a lot of stuff in those 30 years, right?
for sure.
How have you said this earlier in an interview, and I watched an interview you did 18 years ago, and you mentioned about being happy for another brother.
Yeah,
I feel jealousy is killing a lot of black men, bro, personally,
I believe so too.
right? When did you learn to be happy for the success of another brother?
I gotta give that to my mom. I was raised to be happy for my people. It's not just my brothers. I'm happy for anyone that's doing that. You have to train your mind, and that goes back to the energy. People aren't happy because they haven't conquered that spiritual level of saying, as the queens and the kings was up here saying, when you're in Western civilization, we're taught that money and materialistic things are kind of a high achievement, but to give to others is really the gift. To feel spiritually well is really the gift. To want to see your brothers do as good as you are doing or even better is the gift, because you can't take none of this shit with you anyway. And people get confused on that. I mean, I'm not a religious man, but I'm pretty sure in any good book they tell you paradise is up there in the next life. A lot of people are trying to get paradise in this life, which causes jealousy and envy when you see someone else with more than you. But really, if you have a roof over your head, I can tell you this because I lost a child. I've lost a child, a parent, a brother, close friends, family. There's nothing more valuable than your loved ones. There's not a watch they make, not a car they make, not an amount of money that's more valuable than your actual loved ones. If I told everybody right now, I'll give you 10 million tomorrow, 10 billion tomorrow, but you gotta lose your loved ones, how are you gonna enjoy the money if you don't have any loved ones? So I think it's the idea of our idea of what success is and what's causing jealousy and envy. A lot of dudes don't know the treasures right in front of them. You go home, you got a lady that loves you, got a kid that loves you, you got a brother that loves you, sister that loves you, friend that loves you, community that loves you. You're already wealthy. You're already wealthy in a way. You're spiritually wealthy. You may not be financially wealthy, but you are spiritually wealthy. If you woke up today, you are physically wealthy. You know what I mean? If you could think, put your thoughts together, you're mentally wealthy. So I think we're measuring wealth by the Western world's way, and I think you have to start recalculating what wealth is. And of course we all want money and we all want to feel okay and know we can pay our bills, but I think your true wealth is in your spirit.
Serious thing. And if you do have a question for Styles, please raise your hand.
Sorry, what's up, P?
Peace, beloved.
I just want to say thank you for being a mentor for me, my homies. We grew up on your music, your art, and all that concrete poetry. So I appreciate you. So
Thank you.
my question is, where were you in your life where you realized you had a purpose? And are you, like, where at right now in your life do you see your purpose being realized? Have you, you know what I mean?
I think in many stages of my life, I felt I had a purpose. As a youngin', wanting to make it in the music industry was my purpose. I was able to achieve that purpose. Years later in my life, I realized that my purpose is, I was able to see the difference through living a life in hip hop and being able to move in a more affluent place than I was grew up in. Gave me the idea, like as I was saying early, when you're in an affluent neighborhood and I'm riding around and I see it's one liquor store in that town, one fast food spot. If the kid has a trouble in school, it's not special ed. In the hood, it's special ed. Up there, so they give you a teacher's assistant to help the kids. So I started understanding my purpose was that most people look at hip hop, especially people from our community, is the genre that pretty much runs the world. So me understanding that, I said it's my duty to at least get the message out of, you know, at least if we eat this way and you feel good about yourself, that's a win for the day. You know, on top of that, it was really being realistic with myself as a man. I understand when, before I made it in rap, I had no problem spending 24 hours on the block. 7 days a week. I go home, take a shower, get back out there, work hard, put in that time. So if you could do something negative 24 hours a day, put that work in around the clock, it's my duty to do the same thing, even quadruple up when it comes to positivity. So I took it as my personal job to start spreading the word on that we need to take care of our bodies and take care of our minds, because I felt I understood this is how a lot of us get caught up. Like you, especially hip hop, you listen to hip hop all day, you want to get outside, you want to get the jewelry, you want to get the chain, the designer clothes, the Beamer, where most people in my hood can't afford a Civic. You could put the whole team together and say, yo, let's go get a Honda, and it may not happen. So it's kind of not realistic views that you get from hip hop, but it's realistic at the same time, but not so realistic. So I felt it was my duty to at least spread the word and inform that if you take care of your body, or at least work on a balance of taking care of your body and your mind and your spirit, that you'll feel better and you'll achieve more out of life. You'll get to be in circles and feel comfortable. Like realizing I went from, as my brother said earlier, the get high guy to when people see me and go, yo, that's the shoes guy. It was kind of a shift. And I think we all have a purpose to take care of each other. Like we live in Western civilization and no one tells you, we don't think of the village so much anymore. We think of ourselves. And I think when you start thinking of the village and those coming up behind you in the next generation, you have to hone in on your purpose and get to it. Like we're not here, everybody here right now is not here by coincidence. We're here because we're connected to energy. And that energy pulled us to this. We're here because somehow, one way or the other, we're all part of the same soul tribe. A tribe next to that tribe. So I think we have to know all of our purposes in here is pretty much the same, and that's to do better. And when you do better, you're going to tell the next person to do better, and one for the community. So I don't think my purpose is done. I got a few more purposes left.
Excellent question. We have another question. Styles P.
My question is, so as a mother of a young king, and I do a lot of work with men, if we do have men of color, men of African descent in groups and talking, what do you think is the most important conversation we need to have, considering the times we live in?
I really say that depends on the individual and the individuals in the group. it would be easy for me to say what I think is important. That doesn't mean he thinks it's important. That doesn't mean he thinks it's important as well. I think the most important thing amongst a group of men is to have open-minded communication like there is today. There's a brother from Islam, there's a Rasta, there's a Christian, and I think open communication, because your way of life and your religion and how you're raised and how your family raised you could make you have issues that you feel are more important than issues that I think are more important. I think the most important thing is the community being able to communicate with each other, bring out the issues they feel, and being able to have a conversation about it with a level mind. So basically, I'm saying what I think the most important thing is to be able to build with one another, and then I would say the kids after that. Because really in life, here's the thing we don't say. You can be married, you can have kids, but you have to be the most important in your life. You have to be number one. If I'm not all the way great for myself, I can't be great for you. So that honesty has to come with his issues may not be the ones for me. And I may have to sit back, but I got to hear my brother out and be able to say, can I help or can I not help? I feel you, here's what I like, here's what I don't like, with respect, dignity, and a clear line of communication. So, but the most, I feel, important thing for all of us will be the youth coming up behind us. So that communication is key and important.
Another question? We have some questions back there, Mom? Oh, we have one here.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being present. So, there's a lot of conversation around, learning and healing and growing with ourselves and with each other. And I find that it's really important that we highlight what that also looks like with the land and healing our relationship with it. And so the work that you do with Pharmacy for Life, I'm sure has really had impacts for people where this was introduced to them in their life. And so work that I do, I use hip hop in order to teach sustainability. And a lot that's happening right now around composting is bringing people to kind of redefining a new relationship to the way that they think about waste, right? Organic waste, food waste, and all of that, and what that means for replenishing the soil. I'm curious for you, what you have found, I don't know if there's a testimonial story, but what have you found to be the thing that has been most impactful to capture and inspire people to come to this lifestyle, to this conversation, who are new to it, who have never come to it before? What have you personally experienced? What have you identified as a thing that has been successful to create a space to invite people into new thought and new thinking, especially as humans sometimes resist change?
I would say energy and leading by example. Especially when you lead by example, everything works a little bit better in energy. People will come to the juice bar, and it's people, I can't speak for ladies, but I know young males and males alone see camaraderie. So when they see you doing something and bettering yourself and know where you're from, know your history, know your story, that energy and that leading by example brings them back through the door. When we first started Juices for Life, there wasn't, especially with my background, it wasn't a bunch of people going yo, yeah, we're with this and we're riding with it and we're automatically with it. But I believe through leading through an example and people seeing that I felt better, that I lost weight, my temper was much cooler, my energy was better, that's attractive to brothers, because a lot of us want to do better, but we don't have the examples. I don't know if I know this, but it's like a dude who go to jail and come out with some sort of structure, because he may not have had structure before that, but he was able to pick up the energy from a brother and a father figure, an uncle figure, and say, oh, I like how he's moving, I like what he's doing, and be able to adapt to the lifestyle. And I think it's with not being judgmental, not being critical, just being open armed, loving your people. It brings them to a state of mind of feeling comfortable. Because when a person sees your growth and your success, it works. We have people come to the juice bar and we go, if you come to my juice bar, I don't know where you live. So you may not be able to come back. You may not have the money. So what I'm going to tell you to do is take a picture of the menu, go home, get a juicer, go get a blender, and do it yourself so your kids see you doing it. So people like, you see, I'm coming in your barn, you suggesting I do it myself at home, and you go, yeah, because you're leading by example, and that way I know the baby's gonna do it. Because me telling your baby to juice up and to eat right don't mean shit to that baby. But you doing it, the baby seeing you doing it, and living a lifestyle means the world to them. It's like, y'all got kids, you tell your kid what to do, you don't listen. The kids, the little boys follow the mannerisms of their fathers. Little queens follow the mannerisms of their mothers. So you can say what to do in the world, but they're really watching you. Kids are, it's like their eyes and their brains are like little cameras just taking all the information in. So your kid's watching, and when you know that, you do your best to do a little better.
I'm glad you said that before you get into the next question. I think many times as adults, we downplay the example that we set.
For sure.
And we downplay how we're not consistent in certain behaviors we want to see in a child, you know? Next question over there for this brother.
So, Linda, my question was for you. I'm 51 years wise. I'm from Idlewild, Michigan, but I live in Detroit, Michigan, and I flew down here thanks to my son's sister Nubia back there. My question is, when you were posing your question to the brother, you said you were taught not to trust. Even as a social worker and coming from a counselor standpoint, I've never understood that. I hear often people say I was raised in the streets, so I come from the streets, so I was taught this and I was taught that. But then when I ask them very direct questions, when you say you were not taught to trust, I honestly, coming from a family even that was brought up in Detroit, Michigan, I never understood that. So when you say you were taught not to trust, how were you actually taught not to trust?
Well, he said that, but I can answer your question. As a young male, when you're dealing in the streets and you're doing dirt, so to say, or doing illegal things, you're often backstabbed or double-crossed, or someone close to you shortchanges you. Now, if that happens one time, you may be okay. If you go through 2, 3, 4 times, it begins to diminish your level of trust in people. To say, because it's happened to me before. It's almost like you have to prove to me that you're not that type of person instead of prove to me you are that person. So I believe that's what happens to a lot of young males, especially when they're dealing with the street life. You often get burnt, and sometimes by people that's close to you, and that kind of leads you to distrust people. Whether it's over money, sometimes it's over a lady, sometimes it's over other things. But I think when a person gets, especially as a black man, when you get burnt a couple of times, and then you kind of already distrust them for the PTSD level we have of being born in America and the systems that are in place. I don't trust my school system. I don't trust the political system. I don't trust the hospital system. I don't trust the jail system. So it's kind of built in for you to distrust already when you're kind of in single digits.
And from a black perspective for males, I'm not saying this doesn't happen to white men, I'm just talking about black males. I was very observant, and I saw earlier that you always have to perform at a high level to receive love. Love is very conditional as a black man in this environment, and the system itself is set against you. So it's like if you're in a system that's set against you, you can't trust the system. It kind of disrupts your ability to trust another person. So I actually had to train myself and actually learn. It sounded weird when I say this. I had to actually learn to trust people. And most brothers, if they're truthful, I'm pretty sure you experience this too, but if you're going to keep it 100 in public, I had to learn how to trust people. Because you're in an environment 24/7 that you can't trust. And that shapes your relationship with trust. So if you get healthy, you can learn to trust people, but a brother has to put in a lot of work to do so.
I'm just going to piggyback on what Styles P said as far as what we eating and what's in it. There's an app you guys can download called Yuka. It's YUKA, and you scan the barcode on the food, and it lets you know the ingredients in the food, what's good for you, the things that's not good for you, and what's not healthy for you. And also, I am against the medicine because all of God's plants is either here for food or medicine.
Boom.
And our bodies can heal itself just as long as we give it the correct nutrients that it needs to replenish our cells. And also, one more thing, the plant-based products. There's a lot of plant-based companies coming out here with plant-based products that's not good for you. If you can scan, they're not, I don't know what's in them, but you can scan them, and it tells you the things that's not in it that's not good for you. So don't, just because it says plant-based, don't assume that it's good for you and it's healthy for you, because some of them are more dangerous than the processed than foods that has additives and preservatives. And the last thing, Styles P, give your queen my love.
Yes, I will.
Have a good day, you guys.
Thank you, Queen.
Coming from the environment you came from, kind of similar to mine, I was fortunate enough to get out of it, but everybody else doesn't have that opportunity. And what I want to say is, like, what do you think is the best way to get out that mental mindset of being a product of your environment, but still being the product of it? Like embracing it, but not being the cause of, you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I try to tell people, for me, I think the easiest thing to tell someone or to paint the picture easier is, at some point you're a product of your environment. You have the choice to be a product for your environment. So, lead by example. You become a product for your environment and tell the next person who is not and who's a product of their environment, look at me, I made it out, now I'm a product for my environment. That's how I personally take it. Now we have 5 juice bars, pharmacy for life, I'm sitting here, I become a product for my environment. If I can do it, you can do it. That's the message.
Styles, thank you for your time, man. Appreciate it. With your experience and what you achieved and the things going on now in the entertainment industry, how do you identify and deal with good and evil spirits?
That's a good question. I just watch how I keep my spirit. I'm going to tell you something about what people say about it's good and evil. I believe every person has a journey and does certain things on their journey for a certain reason. And the Creator, He's watching. There's times in my life where people would have said, that was a bad spirit. I believe the journey puts you where you're supposed to be. So I don't judge. I'm not the Creator, so I don't judge. I just deal with like-minded spirits, like-minded energy, and keep it pushing from the others, because maybe they're doing something bad or evil, because that's part of their journey now for this lifetime, to get somewhere either positive later this lifetime or to do something positive next lifetime. But as far as I say is stay around spirits that's in your soul tribe, and duck the ones that you feel are evil and dark. It's the best thing you could do.
First off, thank you for coming. Appreciate you.
Love is love.
So being from the hood, you know, it's a lot of people that's creatures of habit and stuck in their ways. And you know, you said you'd be on the block 24/7. You were a creature of habit at 1.2. How do you think, you know, because there's a lot of people here that come here, they want to get in good knowledge, they want to change, you know, certain ways. What do you say was the best way for you to get out of your negative habit and being a creature of that habit into forming new habits and becoming the person you are now?
The best thing with wanting to do anything is to do. I think people often plan what things look like and they procrastinate because they have a long plan of what they think they should be. If you feel like you're not in a good place at this minute, you have the next 5 minutes to say, all right, I'm going to make a change, and do. Wake up tomorrow and do something that you feel is going to be part of the change. I think a lot of us really procrastinate with ideas that it's a certain formula or strategy that you have to have in play to make the change. The change, once you decided that you want to make a change, you already took step 1. And pat yourself in the back for already taking step 1, and then say, now it's time for step 2, which is doing something about that change. And I believe that's how you form habits, by getting up and doing, because you don't have a habit unless you put action to the habit. When you put action to something, now you're doing. So I believe it's the act of doing that enable us to have positive changes and new habits.
That was a good question, bro.
That was a good question, and I think that's actually a good way to end our fireside chat. I want to definitely give a very heartfelt thanks to Styles P for taking the time.
I want to thank y'all for having me. I mean, it was beautiful.